Welcome to another 5 Minutes with Errol Musk. I'm Anneke, clinical psychologist. I think Elon is a remarkable person. So when he was small, I would imagine that he would act differently. Um, Errol, I know you, and I see how you experience frustration with people when they don't understand things the way that you do. Um, Is there any example that you could give us where you perceived Elon as different from other children?
Yeah, I can give you two quick examples. Let's say, well, the one is a good one, and the second one is perhaps not so good. But anyway, not so nice. The first one is, for example, there was a birthday party, and Elon was very small. I mean, he was like 3.5 or 4, going on 4 maybe. And they had the garage closed, and in the garage was a table full of eats for the children, and all the children were playing, and at a specified time, the garage was opened, you see, and all the children rushed in, and they all started filling their mouths. Now, Elon at that point was wearing one of the popular things we call in South Africa, safari suits. These are like, they had big pockets on the side and all that, and big pockets in the pants. And Elon didn't do what the other children did. He quickly went to the table and filled all his pockets. So he went from place to place, filling his pockets until his pockets were bulging, pants and jacket and top, and then he left, and the other children were just eating what they could.
You saw the opportunity.
No, think about it. So then, the others were out playing again, and he had like this huge stock. So I mean, that made me think, wow, yeah, that's clever. And then the other thing is, one day, this is on the sort of, so perhaps not so nice side, but anyway, let's see. So I was at work one day, and Elon was in grade 2, and I got this telephone call from the school that Elon was at, saying that could I please come and see the principal on the next afternoon or something like that. Or, so I said, yes, so I said, I'll come, and I was very worried now, well, why do I have to see the principal, but I thought, well, my immediate thought was, Elon had this habit, of if people, he didn't dislike anyone, but if somebody said something that he thought was not smart or something, he would say, that's stupid, or you're stupid, and I think he may have got it from me, but I hope not anyway. So so it occurred to me, okay, man, he must have said something to his teacher or something, I don't know. So I was quite worried. So I went to the school, and at the prescribed time, I got there, and went into the principal's office. Very neat, very clean, very perfect those days, And there were two people in there, the principal and this teacher, this lady teacher. She must have been about 50-ish. And she was wringing her hands, she was like really wringing her hands, and she had spectacles, and she was wringing her hands, and she looked like she was in a sort of worried state, and I sat down, and I knew the principal a little bit, and so because we'd used the school hall for political meetings, Anyway, so I sat down, and I said, well, what is it? He said, well, it's about Elon. And I said, well, yes, I imagined it was about Elon. So the principal said, so then I said, and then he turned to the teacher, and he said, well, I won't mention her name, let's say Mrs. Jones. He said, Mrs. Jones, can you tell Mr. Musk? So of course, now I was expecting the worst. So I turned to Mrs. Jones and said, well, what? And she said, there's something wrong with Elon. So I was sort of immediately relieved, because, she didn't come out with a stupid thing. So, so anyway, so then I said, what? And she said, no, there's something wrong with him. So I said, well, what is it? And she said, well, he just sits in stairs. He had a window seat near the window, and he just sits and stares out of the window all the time. And in a fixed position, he just sits and stares out of the window, and no matter what she does, if she calls him, he doesn't respond. So this has happened quite a few times, and she says that she's been up to him and shaken him, and then he's sort of turned to her, like out of and it's like, and once he did this once, and he said to her, the leaves are turning brown. Now we had a very leafy suburb, so the drying outside was a whole lot of trees, and it was autumn. It was autumn. It was about March, April, and I thought, oh, okay, well, what's wrong with that? But I didn't say anything. So I turned to the principal, and the principal said to me, look, we think Elon needs a special school. So I said, well, is there anything, what's his work like, to the teacher, you see? So she said, oddly enough, she said his work is all right, it's good. So I said, oh, well, his assignments and, writing or whatever he has to do. So I didn't know quite what to say. So the principal then said to me, in those days they were somewhat straightforward. They didn't mince words. They said, we think he's retarded. So I knew he wasn't retarded, but I didn't know what to say. So I looked at them both, and the teacher, was like almost in tears, and I, wasn't sure what to say. And I turned to the teacher, and I seem to recall she said, yes, that's the situation, that's the situation. And I think we sat there in a sort of dumb silence for a few seconds, and then the principal came to the rescue of us and said, maybe he doesn't hear. Maybe there's something wrong with his hearing. So this was like fantastic. so yes, that's it. And the teacher said, yes, that's it. And he said, and I said, yes, that's it. I mean, if it was any other place, we would have got up and held each other and done a bit of a jig or something. But anyway, so that was what a relief. So I said, no, I'll have his hearing tested immediately. That must be the problem. So I left, you see, and of course, I had his tested. We did actually then immediately the next day have his hearing tested at the University of Victoria Ear, Nose and Throat Department. And there was nothing wrong with his ears. Well, he had 80% hearing, they said, and he needed grommets, but I didn't think it was 80%. But anyway, let's assume. So, but what I did realize was he's in the wrong school. So I, changed his school. I managed to get him into a private school, somewhat snobbish sort of school, but obviously the best, and a very old private school. And I took him and Kimball, who was, I think, had just started grade 1, or was to start grade 1. I put them both into this private school, and that was the end of it.
Was it close to your work?
Sorry?
Was it close to your work or house? Or
oh, well, it was, the schools were in the suburb, we were in the city. But I mean, everything was pretty close to everything else in Pretoria in those days.
Yeah.
So it was not inconvenient or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Errol.